Thrill 2 is racing towards the finish and the park opens May 4th, debuting the new Zamperla reimagined Top Thrill 2. It's been an incredible 2-year-plus journey for the park, us here at Ghoster Coasters, and for so many fans of Cedar Point around the world. From every last bit of speculation, every movement in the infield, to all of the long nights debating on Twitter Spaces, YouTube comment sections, and more about the future of the ride. Was Top Thrill Dragster going to be closed forever? The park did an amazing job staying silent for nearly a year after announcing that Dragster would remain closed for the 2022 season. And boy, did we all wonder, what in the heck is going on? Small teasers kept the enthusiasts going for months on end, YouTuber videos, and of course the coverage provided by so many Cedar Point locals. For those who weren't around when Top Thrill Dragster debuted to the world as the tallest roller coaster out there, the significance of this ride and the everlasting impact could never be taken, and Top Thrill Dragster was the ride to conquer. Ride warriors and guests of all ages braved the peninsula to face their fears on Top Thrill Dragster, and today a whole new generation is getting a chance to experience the same excitement so many did just a mere 21 years prior, when Top Thrill Dragster opened on the very same day, May 4th, 2003. 21 years later, Top Thrill 2 makes its debut circuit to the world. But how did we get here? The events that led to today are one in a million, and we may never see something quite like this again in the amusement park industry. Same top hat, same station, different ride, new manufacturer. So where did the story of Top Thrill 2 really begin? Ghoster Coast along with us as we take you on a journey and race for the sky.
Yo, Ghoster Coast.
Hey, how's it going?
Cedar Point is known as the roller coaster capital of the world, and we know that our customers love roller coasters, love thrill rides, and because of the fact that everybody associates thrill rides and roller coasters with Cedar Point, we're doing the biggest one in 2003.
We've been working on the concept for Top Thrill Dragster, I think ever since Millennium Force opened. We were very pleased with the opening of Millennium, about how fast it goes, etc., and we thought, wonder if we can go faster and go taller.
Cedar Point has always been the roller coaster capital of the world, and we at Intamin were always thrilled to work with Cedar Point to build the best and the tallest roller coasters in the world.
The coaster that breaks every height and speed barrier is here. Top Thrill Dragster. It's the fastest at 0 to 120 miles per hour in 4 seconds. It's the tallest at 420 feet. The first and only strata coaster on Earth is now open. Cedar Point's 16th coaster, Top Thrill Dragster. Want to go? Got the guts. Cedar Point, absolutely amazing.
Top Thrill Dragster, a coaster that altered the landscape of the amusement industry for years to come, broke barriers on what many enthusiasts and fans of the amusement park industry thought was possible, and plagued Cedar Point with issues year after year that caused the park more than just a few problems. Fresh off the Giga Coaster in Millennium Force, Cedar Point wasn't satisfied and began working on plans for the next 100-foot mark, a mere year after Millennium. Known for pushing the boundaries, the amusement park brought us their 4th tallest roller coaster in the world at the time of being built. A work of art and engineering masterminds, the world's first ever strata roller coaster was unveiled to the public in May of 2003. With over 18 million riders during its years of operation, Top Thrill Dragster not only forever changed the park's skyline, but was often referred to as one of the best roller coasters out there. If you could get on it, that's where the issues began with Top Thrill Dragster for the park. A series of unreliability and downtime fostering complaints from guests from near and afar from its hit or miss operations.
On a given day, it was almost expected that Top Thrill Dragster would go down at some point, and if there were windy days, the coaster would cause havoc on the operations teams. But it wasn't always down, and the good times were plenty for this $25 million edition. Arms down, head back, and hold on, echoing over the sounds of "Baby, I'm ready to go" in the station as the anticipation rises for the 17-second thrill that was Top Thrill Dragster. Guests from all over the world visited the park. Celebrities and ride warriors braved the giant coaster. Bert Kreischer even had a TV series where he rode Top Thrill Dragster on Bert the Conqueror.
Let's do it! Let's do it! Come on, here we go. 3B, bring it to me. 1, 2, 3. Here we go. Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my. Oh. Rollbacks may be rare, but I am not a fan.
All right, yay, first rollback!
The coaster was iconic in every sense, lighting up the park sky at night and towering over anything in the general area. It was a marvel to ride over the years, and one giant leap for the coaster innovation that drove the community wild with the hydraulic launches and massive heights, being a recognizable coaster worldwide and driving future innovation further within the amusement industry. But with monumental feats come engineering nightmares, and Top Thrill Dragster was no exception. Before we get into the list of issues that plague the ride with downtime and more, let's discuss the coaster in greater detail to understand the history of Top Thrill Dragster from start to finish. This is Ghoster Coasters with a special guest,
Alex Firlik, and today we're going to take you on a race for the sky from the very beginning of this legendary coaster. So everybody, keep arms down, head back, and hold on.
Sunday, Sunday, Sunday! Are you ready for the highest and fastest coaster in the world? Are you ready for Top Thrill Dragster? Keep arms down, head back, and hold on.
Cedar Point decided it was time to remove dodgems from the park, and the building was sent to Michigan's Adventure while the cars were swapped out with the other dodgem in the park. When the park opened in 2002, they unveiled the new intamin impulse coaster, Wicked Twister, along the boardwalk area of the park currently, and many guests had assumed since they got Millennium in 2000 and Wicked Twister in 2002, that would be it. But the former dodgems area had a construction fence up with signs that said, "Building for the Future." With the lagoons traversing the park being built in 1905, crews worked to fill in massive sections of the lagoons, preparing for the future constructions coming to the park. Summer progressed and clear signs of work were going on at the former dodgem site and surrounding areas, with land clearing evident and more lagoon work going on as it was clear the land was being prepped for a new addition. Troika opened in 1976, a family favorite of ours at Ghoster Coasters, and Chaos opened in 1997, which were closed around the middle of the summer, taken apart, and sent off to their new respective locations. On Sunday, October 27th, Schwabenkind gave its last rides after 32 years and was sent off to Stricker's Grove, where it never operated again.
The removals of Chaos and Troika brought an extended construction layout, and the sheer size started to show signs of being a massive addition, spanning from the Camp Snoopy area to the park to the Iron Dragon Helix. At this point, the new ride construction and progress being made had created a massive buzz surrounding the park, and in true to form Cedar Point fashion, they stayed silent and let the speculation continue. Later on in the summer, we could see new yellow spikes going vertical over the fence, creating even more hype and making this one of the most anticipated roller coasters ever. After a few weeks, the ride started to get taller and taller, eventually looking like it rivaled Millennium Force in height. It soon became clear that this roller coaster was going to be a massive addition to the amazement park. The cranes used for the construction of Top Thrill Dragster were a rare commodity. At the time of building, there were only 4 cranes in the world tall enough to complete the scope of construction for the project.
Another fun fact about the lead up to Top Thrill Dragster was that Cedar Fair, the parent company that owned Cedar Point and Knott's Berry Farm, decided to do some test runs on Accelerator at Knott's to see if the trains could be launched at speeds and withstand it. The launches were of speeds of 112 and 117 miles per hour. And watching the video, you can see just how much faster the coaster runs in the test than normally. The tests were used to gauge and guide Cedar Fair into the future with their record-breaking roller coaster that we would all soon get to know. Gemini rumors had swirled throughout the whole summer as well, and we would later come to learn that Gemini was almost removed after the 2002 season to complete the launch track for the new ride. But eventually, with the innovation from Intamin and the push from Cedar Point to fill the smaller plot.
On January 9th, 2003, Cedar Point decided to officially announce the coaster to the world. Top Thrill Dragster, the world's tallest and fastest roller coaster at the time, was set to thrill riders opening day of the 2003 season.
Introducing Top Thrill Dragster.
A surprise to many, having just built Wicked Twister, the unveiling of a 420-foot coaster a mere 3 years after Millennium Force and hitting the 300-foot mark seemed relatively amazing for this time. 3 years to break the height record they established before, making this the fourth roller coaster to be the tallest at the time it was built by the park.
The catapult launching system rockets you from 0 to 120 miles per hour in less than 4 seconds. But your vehicle is like no dragster on Earth, and your 2,800-foot drag strip takes a sharp turn straight up into the sky. 420 feet. Don't blink. From the top, you'll be looking 11 stories down on Millennium Force. But
on May 1st, 2003, Cedar Point displayed the new record-breaking roller coaster for media and select members, giving the first rides and showcasing the 420-foot coaster in all its glory. Rave reviews came in from the ride, and it seemed like Cedar Point had another crowd-pleasing coaster and arguably one of the best coasters on their hands. All that was left was the public perception and overall reviews of the ride over the next season. Or so was the plan, but we'll get into that later. Media Day was a success, and the park was ramping up for the first public rides on Top Thrill Dragster in the upcoming days. The day was finally here, and on May 4th, 2003, Cedar Point welcomed its first official riders on the brand new Top Thrill Dragster, a culmination of 3 years of planning by the park and manufacturer Intamin. Here are the stats for what riders were in store for with some Top Thrill Dragster facts. Costing Cedar Point $25 million, the new ride stood at 420 feet, launching riders on the hydraulic launch system at 120 miles per hour, sending riders racing towards the sky on a 420-foot top hat with a drop of 400 feet. Designed by Werner Stengel and manufactured by Intamin, the ride boasted a capacity of roughly 1,000 riders per hour and was the 16th roller coaster at Cedar Point when it was built. Opening day smashed all expectations for riders as the new Top Thrill Dragster brought an experience that nobody expected. Being blasted 120 miles per hour was something unthought of even a few years before. Riders were amazed to crest the top hat and look over at Millennium Force towering down below them as they hit the spiral drop. 17 seconds was all that Cedar Point needed to make one of the most thrilling roller coasters of all time, shattering expectations and preconceived thoughts on the limits of roller coasters. The feat marked a monumental moment for both Cedar Point and the amusement park industry as a whole, with the new Strata coaster breaking all height and speed records from decades past. What was left for the world? The innovation of the launch coaster going from the original LEMs to the new hydraulic launches brought speed to the forefront, launching riders on roller coasters faster than ever before. The soaring feat of Top Thrill Dragster put a massive target on the 420-foot height record, and King Dakar was later built in the wake of Top Thrill Dragster's smashing success, outdoing its predecessor, reaching heights of 456 feet and speeds of 128 miles per hour. Who knows if we would have seen this coaster happen without the innovation from Cedar Point.
Hershey Park even built a hydraulic launch in Storm Runner, and the coaster world was on fire. The new launches just brought a punch that hadn't been replicated beforehand. Some even say Top Thrill Dragster and King Dakar were the final nail in the coffin for the coaster wars, with the height record remaining until this very day. Top Thrill Dragster gave over 18 million rides in its heyday and became a staple in the coaster enthusiast book of I Did That. It was the ride to face and conquer, the legendary coaster, and a staple until this day in the coaster world, albeit ever evolving and reimagining the realm of possibilities. But we always hear about the downtime and incidents that plagued the ride. So what actually went on over all these years, and how problematic was Top Thrill Dragster for Cedar Point? The early rollback issues were already in effect, as they had 3 straight rollback experiences happen during the first few weeks of operation, but something even more serious may have happened with Top Thrill Dragster a few weeks later. On May 25, 2003, around 11:30 p.m., the park experienced the first major issue with the new coaster. According to a guest or park worker, we're not too sure here, but apparently, one of the tires let loose from its axle somewhere along its 120-mile-per-hour journey. There were 2 park employees on the ride during test runs and maintenance, I believe, and they heard noises coming from the back of the train during the course of the ride and knew something was wrong.
According to a Reddit post, the blue train, minus the right tire, was occupying the first position of the unload platform with the green train behind it. He also noted, when I walked onto the unload platform and then to the stairs, I got a good glimpse of the axle, which is severed at its neck. The tire was nowhere in sight, and I clearly remembered no faults with the blue train as it cycled through the station before I entered into the purple train. And as it were landed, whether it simply landed in the dirt alongside the launch or whatever, it was catapulted along the air, that's just pure conjecture. One thing's for sure, at least the park was closed at the time. Many reports suggested that the Goodyear tires were removed from the train due to the weight and consequential rollbacks that were occurring, but it seems like there were other issues. Some old articles online had pictures, but the URL had been removed and the Wayback Machine did not have any copies of the photos either, unfortunately. But they supposedly showed the Goodyear wheel off the train. When striving for engineering feats and marks that have never been reached before, problems are bound to pop up over time. Such was the case with Top Thrill Dragster, the first strata coaster ever, making it quite simply put, a prototype roller coaster. Prototypes come with flaws and faults. Issues occur that weren't expected, and let's face it, the sensors alone for Top Thrill Dragster would drive anyone off the wall trying to get it working right with such finicky devices. Not to mention, somewhere around 800 sensors were maintaining the ride system. As you can imagine, it created quite the nightmare with the maintenance crews and guests alike trying to ride. Guest experiences range from the ride being open all day to never being able to ride the ride between the downtime and the maintenance going on.
Those who got to ride and conquer the thrill would tell you how amazing the experience was, and Rush the Ride truly packed. The ride ranked among the top 15 best steel coasters in the annual Golden Ticket Awards until the year 2014, when it started to slide a bit. Overall, the ride has remained in the top 30 best steel roller coasters since its opening, and everyone who got to experience this ride will tell you the launch was incredible and the experience was something you just had to do yourself to truly understand. But being the first brings problems, and Top Thrill Dragster started to face these issues very early on, and it continued for years.
Let's discuss some of the incidents over the years and how the park handled a ride that was plagued by downtime and unfortunate circumstances. When people think of Top Thrill Dragster, they think of 420 feet, 120 miles per hour, and the years of thrills and experiences on the ride. Those who were ride warriors during the early 2000s braved the coaster capital with anticipation for the world's first strata coaster. Young kids walked by on the midway thinking of the day that they would finally face the fear of riding Top Thrill Dragster, and fans of the ride rejoiced at the sound of the cadence before the launch, watching the ride from the midway as they prepared to go aboard one of the craziest rides out there.
But people also think of the downtime and the visits they went to and did not get to ride Top Thrill Dragster, and when more serious incidents would occur that caused even more downtime than ever imagined when building the ride. The ride was plagued with incidents from the beginning, with the first occurring a mere weeks after the ride opened, with one of the Goodyear tires flying off the train late in the evening. The signs were there from the start: a monumental breakthrough ride, a prototype machine, and early signs of things to come. Over the years, there were a few standout incidents from the ride that caused injuries or downtime for a prolonged period.
On July 14, 2004, an incident occurred with the hydraulic launch system, with the cable fraying during the initial launch and sending debris flying into the crowd. All 4 guests were treated by the in-park employees, but 2 of them later saw additional attention for their injuries.
August 7th, 2016, during the ride's initial launch sequence, the launch cable detached from the ride, causing 2 guests to be evaluated at the park's first aid station, but ultimately were okay. The ride remained closed for that day and the following day due to maintenance checks for the ride. Fortunately, nobody was seriously injured during the event. Another event happened in 2017 during the month of September as parts of the braking system were damaged, and there were supposedly photos of this. We have not found them. Now, Cedar Point did not acknowledge this, and they said the ride was closed for maintenance reasons, but there were photos accompanying this at the time, so it's safe to say that this was another incident that happened with Top Thrill Dragster. Being plagued with issues over the years comes with the grounds, coming with a new prototype roller coaster. This ride was very finicky. It had a ton of sensors, and there is a ton of technical analysis and breakdowns that go into why this coaster was so tricky for the park to run. From high wind speeds to being so tall up, you never know. At 420 feet, the wind direction changes from what it is on the ground. There are so many things that went into that ride being down as often as it was, not to mention some of the technology at the time being so far advanced for the moment that, of course, there were issues and a lot of finicky moments with it. So yes, Dragster was a maintenance nightmare, but with a prototype machine that breaks all of these records, you have to come to expect some of these things.
Discussing the August 15th incident at Cedar Point is never going to be an easy topic to approach. We'll never have all of the answers, and we'll never know the repercussions of the incident. Concerning those involved and the privacy of the families, we will not be sharing any names or graphic information regarding the topic.
We were at the park on August 15th, 2021, and we were going to get in line for Top Thrill Dragster when the incident occurred. We saw the panic and chaos that ensued, the urgency on first responders' faces, and the response with guests at the park that day. The green train of Top Thrill Dragster was sent up and over the top hat, where issues started to arise. And the flag plate, a decently sized L-shaped flag plate that is responsible for sending signals to the ride's computer system. During the ride, one of the bolts stripped or broke loose, allowing the flag plate to drag along portions of the track, heading into the brake run, essentially shearing off the flag plate and sending it hurling into the queue where guests were waiting to board the ride.
Our thoughts go out to everyone involved that day, and again, we sincerely do not want to discuss this topic in any light but as respectfully and concisely as we can, so we are omitting as much of the graphic details from this as possible, and from the description above, you get the point. A large piece of metal flew off into the crowd at high speeds. That's never going to be a good outcome. With the impending investigations into the incident and the clear need to shutter ride operations, Cedar Point would never open Top Thrill Dragster to the public as is again. And one final launch and test was done somewhere around September, and the ride remained closed for the rest of the 2021 season, with rumors ramping up about the ride being done for good, this being the final straw that finally sent the park over the edge with this expensive maintenance nightmare, ending the almost 20 years of Skyline supremacy. And could we really blame them? So many people were questioning how such an instance could happen at one of the safest parks on the planet, and yet somehow the most unfortunate event wound up happening.
Cedar Point announced Dragster was closed for the season in early of March 2022, and many wondered if the ride would ever reopen at the park again. There wasn't much said the entire summer, and for months the speculation dragged on with no certain end in sight. But on August 1st, the park gave us a silent send-off as the tower was illuminated that night in the sky like a bat signal. A month later, on September 3rd, 2022, markings begin to appear all around the Top Thrill Dragster area, which span from the winner circle and the photo booth area all the way and up into the bushes near the exit platform, next to the station, across the midway near the Super Himalaya, all the way down past Magnum and up to the Spike. What was happening with Top Thrill Dragster, and how much longer we would have to wait to hear for an announcement about the ride's future, was yet to be discovered.
All of this was taken into consideration in utmost respect for the victim of the horrible accident, and we do not want to paint this as a positive moment. We have to mention and send our wishes to the victim, her family, and everyone involved that day. We hope accidents like this never happen again at amusement parks, a place meant for fun, to get away, and to have a good time with friends and family. We wish nothing but the best to the victim and the family. Again, the speculation was exciting to a point. But we have to understand that someone's life changed on that fateful day and respect the victim as well. Everyone wanted to hear she was okay more than any news about the ride. Respecting the family's privacy attention turned to the next thing we could, and that was covering the future of the ride with respect to anyone involved. But the wait wouldn't take too long, as mere days later, guests and fans would be surprised by Cedar Point and a shocking announcement.
As the ride sat dormant and guests wondered about the future of Dragster for months on end, the park decided the time to give some info on the ride was now, and on September 6, 2022, Cedar Point officially announced Dragster's future with a post stating, "After 19 seasons in operation, with 18 million riders experiencing the world's first strata coaster, Top Thrill Dragster, as you know it, is being retired." This announcement was met with many opinions and a lot of disappointment among enthusiasts and fans of the ride alike. The hydraulic launch roller coaster would no longer be as we know it. What was to come? Many speculated, YouTubers and users on social media gave their opinions, and what we know now as the era of Dragster speculation began. A fun time indeed, with so many predictions and guesses that everything was thrown at the wall, from RMC reimagining the ride to it being torn down altogether. We heard it all over the next few years, and the lead up was arguably one of the more memorable moments in amusement park history.
September 10th, 2022 came around and we made one of the first visits to the park since the announcement. We noticed that the construction wall up around Top Thrill Dragster around this time. What was to come? Nobody knew for sure, but everyone was excited to see the future of the ride. This day also sent many fans into a frenzy when a comment from Instagram started circulating on different social media pages, with SNS posting a comment that said, "Can't wait to stall the LSMs," which made almost everyone excited, mad, or angry. Every emotion you could imagine was already pouring in for this iconic coaster and its potential future. The hydraulic launch was being removed? How could they? Many wondered, but the rumor had started and sparked from Instagram.
We decided we were going to start covering the ride a week or two prior at this point, and on September 12th, 2022, we decided to give our first early predictions for the now retired ride, Top Thrill Dragster. Here at Ghoster Coasters, early on, we thought Intamin would have the in with Cedar Point and repair the frayed relationship.
Then they might as well go all the way and try to mend that relationship with Intamin. That's my theory here, is you should definitely try to mend that relationship with Intamin. Again, with the manufacturer thing, I think they should just work with Intamin again, because if Intamin can come back in here, make that ride reliable now, and also potentially add like a Pantheon type ride layout to it, maybe add something, you know, a spike or something to get the LSMs to actually launch full speed, that would be amazing.
And we predicted that Intamin would be who came in and took over the project. With the success of Velocicoaster and Pantheon, it seemed all but perfect to fix the prototype with Intamin's knowledge of launch coasters that they gained over the years. It was at this time we also guessed that an LSM launch would go in. And ding ding ding, a spike was predicted as well. A lot of enthusiasts and guests on social media were going wild with the Dragster speculation, from extended layouts, reversing which side it launches from, to the tallest inversion ever on a coaster.
The one thing we did think was wrong here was that 2023 would be when it was up and running, because we just couldn't imagine Cedar Point without its all-star lineup and the tallest coaster in the park running for the next year. The real start of rumor season for Top Thrill Dragster was on September 18th. Even though for the past month everyone had speculated what was going to happen, and after the incident for the past year, there was never any concrete evidence, rumors with any weight, or serious discussion from anyone other than some guesses here and there on YouTube.
It's sketchy right now. Everything is just a top secret. Like, they don't want us to know anything about it.
Yeah, nothing at all. It's a big Top Thrill secret.
Yeah.
But that would change as El Toro Ryan put out a video on this day, stating that Intamin was no longer reliable for Top Thrill Dragster and that Cedar Point had taken over responsibility for the ride. And boy, did the rumors run wild here, with Zamperla being the frontrunner, but others like Mach and SNS still being mentioned by some, and Intamin being heavily argued still, despite the early signs showing it likely wasn't going to happen, us included. This was also the first day we visited the park, and others had started to notice that the signage for Top Thrill Dragster was missing from both the station and the walk-up to the entrance for the ride queue, all but marking the end of the Top Thrill Dragster era as we knew it after the announcement. The real cherry on top of seeing the signage gone was when pieces of the track were seen being removed from the ride, adding fuel to the fire for speculation and predictions for the future of Top Thrill Dragster.
Progress remains steady, and on September 21st, 2022, we could see pieces of the station track completely torn out and the Dragster winner's circle was bare at this point. What was Cedar Point up to, and what did the future of this ride look like? This was also the same day that transfer track pieces were seen being removed from the infield as well. By September 23rd, 2022, all the track inside the station and on the return side of the launch were taken out of the ride, and as we knew it, it slowly began to disappear before our eyes. We saw the red crane behind the construction fence for the first time. At this point, it was obvious that they were continuing with tearing out pieces of the ride as the launch track was being dismantled and stacked up near the construction fence just on the other side of the midway. Workers were on site doing inspections and taking components apart, and a large stack of proximity sensors were seen on the station platform.
On October 1st, we saw the first actual movement from the park as pieces of Top Thrill Dragster were spotted in the early morning off of the peninsula in the storage site off Cleveland Road right near the park. And sure enough, we checked it out and there were stacks of intamin track in the lot, and a lot of the fencing for the ride stacked up as well. Many people wondered if the track was going to be repurposed or if they were simply getting rid of it. By October 2nd, the track was missing up the top hat and past the finish line on the brake section. The ride was a shell of its former self, with the station and the top hat remaining, and a whole lot of speculation to come. By October 3rd, we saw the markings appear by the old Blood on the Bayou entrance just before the Dragster photo booth area as you walked the midway by Iron Dragon. Our initial thoughts were that they were going to move the queue somewhere to this area, and the future of Dragster was still in play as a revamped ride, as more sensors were seen piled up and the station was beginning to be torn apart from the inside, with large supports hanging where the original loading station track used to be.
We could see workers during park hours on this day as they were taking apart pieces of track and hammering away at things near the station, and pieces of the track were piled up right next to the fence, a mere feet away from the midway on the other side. On October 7th, we saw more track pieces being stacked up at the off-site storage facility with supports and track pieces piled high. When we got to the park, we saw more steel torn out from underneath the station during the day, and on our way out of the park, we noticed something lighting up the midway. The Dragster station was fully lit up and the finish line was on as well.
A week passed by and not much had happened with the movements until the early hours of October 14th, when Aiden Kern snapped pictures of the off-site facility showing Top Thrill Dragster pieces being loaded into a large shipping container and being driven off from the site. Rumors began going wild, and the search for the shipping container numbers was all across social media world. Meanwhile, back at the park, the station was all cleaned up by this point, and there was little movement at the off-site facility after this other than another shipment on October 21st, with more pieces of the Dragster track being sent off.
October 21st marked the day everyone started to key in on the shipping container and its whereabouts, as many users across social media tracked it down to the port of Genoa.
A lot of track is gone, and a couple of people have tracked it down to the port of Genoa, going to Italy or Spain. There's a couple of different theories out there about where it's going to end up, but ultimately, about 5 hours away from the intamin facilities is where most people have located it going to, so.
With many theories coming in from Intamin to Zamperla being the frontrunners. Was Intamin back in the realm? Many fans of the ride thought this moment was a sign they were indeed working on the ride again in some capacity. The theories about where the track pieces would wind up ran wild, and to be honest, this was one of the most fun days covering Top Thrill Dragster news during the whole waiting period. So where did the track go? By October 24th, many were still asking this question, and pretty much only time would tell. But the rumor mill certainly wouldn't end there. As far as the progress at the park, the whole launch area was barren, and the queues leading to the station platform were gone as well.
The season was coming to an end soon, and by October 28th, most of the track was missing from the storage facility. Halloween was the last operating day of the 2022 season, and of course, we had to be there, staring up at the top hat as we passed by, wondering what the future of the Skyline and Park lineup would look like. Guessing that Intamin was who would be on the project still with wide-eyed hope, and a bare station resembling the past and future of the ride at once. With the off-season coming, the rumors would slow down, right? Well, Wouldn't you be top thrilled to know that by November 8th, the rumors were beginning to get into full swing and the debates began getting more and more fun for the community. El Toro Ryan fanned the flames as he released an update video discussing the potential for who was working on the ride, and Zamperla was the winner. In hindsight, he probably had great reliable resources for this, and I know the coaster YouTubers get slack for this, but man was he right way before many of us knew what was going on.
The shipment was then tracked down a bit more as Embassy Cargo, who was transporting the track. It was also at this time that Zamperla announced they would refurbish an intamin launch coaster known as Senso Fiata for Peony Playland. This ride was opening in 2024. November 24th led to more Zamperla rumors, as at the IAAPA show, they presented lightning trains, sleek designs with lightweight and minimal upkeep maintenance, and capable of launching at speeds faster than Dragster. The rumors had mounted by this point.
December 21st, 2022 brought us some aerial views of Top Thrill Dragster by a user on Reddit, RC Biff, and of the construction going on for the new boardwalk area as well, coming in the 2023 season. In the photos above Top Thrill Dragster, a dump truck can be seen by the midway, and you can see the queue being torn up in the infield of the ride as well. We predicted a spike again here on this day in another video as well. The rumors left everyone stunned and ready to debate Intamin or Zamperla, and others who had wildcard guesses as well. And for 2 months, this was the discourse surrounding the ride. Nobody knew, but some people had clued in on things, and all we could do was wait for an announcement. Maybe even on the original Top Thrill Dragster announcement day.
January 9th, 2023, a new formula for thrills, the very same day that Top Thrill Dragster was announced a mere 20 years earlier. Cedar Point delivered an ominously toned video with shadowy overlays and quick cuts of the top hat for Dragster with the simple statement, a new formula for thrills. The excitement was in the air as we all could finally feel a little relief that the ride itself may very well be around for years to come. The discourse surrounding a spike began to heat up again, and many wondered, how tall would a spike be if Cedar Point were to go this route with the ride? January 9th was an exciting day for coaster enthusiasts, but how much longer will we have to wait? More rumors after the latest development from Cedar Point and the new teaser video depicting Top Thrill Dragster. The conversation shifted towards a positive outlook and the future of the attraction. The noise about the ride being closed down forever sort of subsided, but there were still some doubtful out there.
was maybe even a new Intamin coaster. I've heard industry rumblings of Cedar Fair executives checking out Velocicoaster at Universal's Islands of Adventure and being insanely impressed, enough to the point where they are looking to do multiple LSM launching roller coasters with Intamin. But again, please take that with a grain of salt. And I find that very confusing since Cedar Fair selected Zamperla to repurpose Top Thrill Dragster at Cedar Point and not Intamin.
On February 3rd, 2023, L2 Orion released another video, this time about Cedar Fair and the relationship with Intamin. In that video, L2 Orion discussed the current state of affairs with Cedar Fair executives and the great manufacturer, even going as far as taking a trip down to Universal Islands of Adventure to ride one of the best new coasters out there, Velocicoaster. As far as we knew, Cedar Fair executives enjoyed the ride, and the rumors about Top Thrill Dragster and Intamin started up again, and the flame had been lit, and many were under the assumption that Intamin would be involved with the project if Cedar Fair execs were taking a look at some of their other rides.
Theme Park Predictions posted a video regarding Top Thrill Dragster and what he was hearing, mentioning that L2 Orion was hearing it was Zamperla, while he was still hearing it was Intamin. The debates were sparked, and for a while, all we had was the guesses from what others and what they were hearing. February 25th brought us the annual Winter Chill Out event at Cedar Point and more progress photos of Top Thrill Dragster. The one bit that caught the most people's attention was the fact that Iron Dragon had a section of track missing from the ride. Seemingly, an ordinary routine inspection of the track turned out to be so much more in the end.
Around March 20th, rumors started circulating about a midway revamp for the Top Thrill Dragster area, and with those rumors came even more drastic predictions as many were thinking that Corkscrew would be removed. However, Tony Clark posted a boardwalk construction update earlier in the year and said that Wild Mouse would be the 18th roller coaster at the park, so we assumed that Corkscrew could not be removed due to the park itself saying 18 roller coasters.
Located just steps away from Cedar Point's Grand Pavilion is our 18th roller coaster. It's the Wild Mouse.
The midway talk continued, and many were wondering what the CP 2024 PM PNR stood for. What a time that was dissecting the hidden messages from the holiday videos and more. From new rides to new records, Midway project, and more, the rumors swirled for quite some time regarding the Midway.
Around March 26th, the space-themed rumors for Top Thrill came into play with the name Polaris being thrown around by many enthusiasts. And at the same time, construction was appearing near the Iron Dragon section where the pieces of track had been removed, further fueling the spike rumors as well. A few days later, on March 28th, a new perspective of the park construction was brought to us by now-defunct YouTuber Lake Erie Lifestyles, flying his drone near the island and showcasing all of the updates to the ride as the progress continued. The following day, some drone photos from above appeared online in the Reddit forums again from the user RC Biff, showing a huge triangle footer being built behind the Iron Dragon station near Iron Dragon, and the entire infield of the ride was completely empty at this point. With the size of the footer, many were predicting a 500-foot spike at this point with a new height record for the park. Speaking of the park, they hadn't said anything in almost 2 months at this point since the video teaser on January 9th.
April brought us a good amount of exciting progress. On the 6th, we saw crushed stone being added to the pond near Iron Dragon's helix, and where the new footer had been formed. The foundation was still being prepared at this point, but there was also gravel on top of the triangle area. By April 18th, we saw concrete poured in the triangle footer. The pond had added more gravel by the coaster's diner, and we saw big steel pieces being added to the footer area and buried. The park had Iron Dragon put back together by April 25th, and rebar had been placed on the footer foundation. The station was being worked on, and the surrounding area, but still no word from the park yet.
On May 6th, Tony Clark appeared on Fox 8 Cleveland to discuss the new addition to the Cedar Point coaster lineup, the Wild Mouse, the Boardwalk, and the future of Cedar Point, including that big thing in the skyline. This was when Tony confirmed that the new ride would open in 2024.
Well, you know, that's a great question, and I actually wanted to tease a little bit, because as you know, or maybe you don't know, we're working on something very large for 2024.
What is it? Yeah, I saw the construction going on.
It's behind you.
Yeah.
It's that big, tall roller coaster back there that we closed a few years ago that have not operated, and we are currently reimagining that ride.
Oh, cool.
So turning it into something different that guests will love and enjoy, and then it will open in 2024.
I did mention Wild Mouse was the 18th roller coaster again. said they were going to have teasers coming out over the summer, and it's going to be something nobody else has done. While Iron Dragon's opening was delayed, this all but confirmed the spike for many fans of the new ride, while the new footers being poured behind the station lined directly up with the former launch track. The following day, we saw digging at the station and more footers being laid out, and at this point, it seemed like prep for the ride was ramping up. Many people were even questioning if the station awning was going to stay at this point.
The following week, on May 14th, we saw a crane on site for the first time this year. While it seemed that the work on the top hat was happening, inspections or prep for the ride, we weren't really sure. Towards the end of May, there was a small construction update with the crane being extended up to the top hat and being confirmed as the Liebherr LTM 1300-6.2, a fascinating crane on site.
And who found that out?
Me.
The month of June brought the annual Coaster Mania event at Cedar Point, where even more surprises were in store for guests. As Tony Clark hosted a Q&A, and we received those cool CP Racing logo keychains, which at the time nobody knew what they were or what they meant. And all Tony said was that we would want to hang on to those keychains for next year, sparking even more rumors about the keychains. By June 20th, the rumors about Zamperla and Intamin were at full highs, with some guessing that both were working on it in some capacity. The thought of a layout extension other than the spike was also taken more seriously from here out.
Polaris was still making its way around social media pages at this time, and nobody knew for sure what the park had up their sleeve. The first changes we saw during the 2023 season were on June 22nd, when the track was being painted white and everyone was curious about what was going on and was it primer or actual paint color. This was when the blue and orange track at Staccato was not for Cedar Point, and everyone became aware of that. On Tuesday, June 27th, 2023, Cedar Point's official Twitter made a tweet, and I'd like to add somewhere around 4:20 p.m. with the caption, "First shipment, signed, unsealed, delivered, hashtag Cedar Point, hashtag CP24PHP, with a picture of the base of the new support piece."
Footage from Lake Erie Lifestyles on YouTube was uploaded, showing the unloading process of the first set of pieces of supports, and the first pieces of refurbished brake run track were also in the shipment. After the excitement of the first shipment, the Zamperla rumors were mounting and the new Project Horsepower name for the project came up.
This was around the same time we did a small in-depth review of CP 2024 PHP and discussed the keychains again. Little movement occurred over the next few weeks, but finally, on July 11th, 2023, we could see pieces of track being attached to the supports on the brake run. And later, the Cedar Point Twitter account posted with the caption, "Finished? Nah, fam. We're just getting started. Hashtag Cedar Point, hashtag CP24PHP. A photo accompanied the tweet showing a crane lifting a section of track onto the supports. The excitement was truly reaching all-time highs by this point.
The following day, we saw the park adding additional track to the ride with the brake fins being installed on the brake run. The park followed this up by surprising everyone. On the morning of July 14th, the park surprised guests with the CP Racing logos on the midways. By the ride, it had more brake fins installed, setting up the park for an exciting ramp up of teasers for the new ride.
Tuesday, July 18th at 4:20 p.m. again, a simple tweet with the caption, "Cedar Point, hashtag CP24PHP," and a picture that read, "Get revved up, 8/1/23, confirming a release date for information surrounding the new ride for 2024. This was also around the same time a fake release of a Polaris leak came out with a 276-foot beyond vertical spike on a new space-themed ride, later proven to be false.
On July 30th, 2023, Zamperla accidentally published an incomplete webpage about a ride called Top Thrill 2, which would feature a 420-foot tall rear spike and 3 launches. The 3 launches would be a 74-mile-per-hour forward launch, a 101-mile-per-hour backwards launch into the rear spike, and a filed 120-mile-per-hour forward launch, allowing riders to crest a 420-foot tall tower and complete the circuit. Many people doubted this leak because it just didn't seem very real. 420-foot spike? 101 miles per hour backwards? Zamperla as the manufacturer? Nobody was certain. However, this webpage did get so much traffic from the community that the website went down. The roller coaster community could only hold its breath, and in 2 days, we would know for certain what was going on. But where did this come from, and why? What happened?
As most of the Midwest slept, something happened at 5 a.m. on August 1st. The leak from the day before was true. Zamperla was confirmed as the manufacturer. Top Thrill 2 had its new name. The top hat was staying as is, and we would see a new 420-foot spike added to the ride with a rollback and 3 launches, making this the tallest and fastest multi-launch coaster in the world when it opens. The first 3 pieces of the Spike Tower foundation were set in place, and a few lucky guests even got the chance to sign the first pieces. The week included so many moments, from Top Thrill 2 B-roll footage, some clips of the ride animation, and more teasers about being revved up. The park had completed the massive rollout, and the hype was at an all-time high for this ride, with many fans and guests discussing the new Zamperla edition, the fact that Intamin was not reimagining the ride, and how exciting 2 massive 420-foot structures in one park was going to be. The park remained silent for about a month, and not much work was going on around the ride, but the park had more in store, and the ever-changing Skyline addition to the park would soon start to take place, and the park even adopted its form of showcasing the construction, and with that, the race for the sky was on.
Welcome to the Top Thrill 2 pit stop, where we take you behind the construction wall to see the progress on the world's tallest and fastest triple launch Stratocoaster. What are they building? What are they doing? Where are we at in the process? Let's go take a look.
With the park's new for 2024 Top Thrill 2 and hype reaching its peak a month ago, on September 7th, 2023, Cedar Point and Tony Clark released the first episode of the Top Thrill 2 Pit Stop, a small series showcasing about 1 to 3 minutes of updates and discussing what was going on with the ride currently. A fun addition to the park news cycle, and gave enthusiasts and guests something to look forward to for the next few months. In the first episode of the pit stop, we saw the footers being poured for the high-speed switch, as well as the building for the LSM building that would house the components for the ride's launch system.
As you can see, there's a lot happening here on the Top Thrill 2 construction site, and there's so much more to come.
By September 14th, the park had released episode 2 of the series, and we saw the assembly of the spike structure taking even more shape, as well as the track being placed, heading up the spike tower at the bottom.
The same episode talked about the new color scheme and what we learned for the station for Top Thrill 2 would be painted blue. It was exciting times for everyone. Between the pit stop episodes, we saw the crane reappear with the spike tower seemingly growing by the day. By October 9th, the pit stop episodes resumed, and we saw the train storage footers being placed and learned of more shipments of the wheels that move the trains along the track as well. The white and red paint at the top of the top hat was really starting to come to life at this point, and you could see the clear improvements to the color scheme. Shout out to Bantam Painting Solutions as well, who have repainted many rides within the Cedar Fair chain, including the Racer at Kings Island and Diamondback as well.
The park was quiet for the next month as they prepared for the big expo down in Orlando known as IAAPA, or the International Association of Amusement Parks and Attractions, where coaster manufacturers and park representatives from all over the industry come together, make business deals, present new ideas, show innovating products for the future, and so much more. On November 14th, the Cedar Point team released an update from IAAPA discussing the new lightning trains used for Top Thrill 2, as well as revealing the blue lead car.
Adam Sandy was on hand and discussed the lightning trains, the aluminum chassis, the carbon fiber elements of the train, as well as the massive wheels that sit a little over 20 inches. Episode 5 was released on November 21st, and this showcased some amazing accomplishments for the park as they hit the 400-foot mark on the spike. The station was in the process of being painted blue, and we also had an interesting bit of the news to follow the Top Thrill 2 reveals. Power Tower was getting a matching color scheme and paint job to match up with the new 2024 Top Thrill 2.
As the park marched forward with construction, they seemingly learned from the last time they built a strata structure that they need better pacing. The pacing they worked with was unreal, and we barely had time to sneak in a what to expect on opening day video for the new ride as anticipation was building and the park was continuing on the marvel at hand. The months were getting colder and the park was right on schedule to complete the track work, inching closer and closer to the 420-foot mark. And day by day, getting closer to the first screams of the thrills of the guests enjoying the new mega coaster.
Over the past few years, many had wondered what Dragster would look like when it reopened. The time kept creeping by with all the excitement since we knew the ride would be coming back. While vertical progress had started on August 1st, by December 3rd, 2023, Cedar Point released a new Top Thrill pit stop, and we saw the spike being completely topped off. History had been made, and the second stratostructure in the park was finally completed. A marvel to look at how the new structure just towered over Power Tower from the top. And the park also shared that trains had been pieced together and put on the track in order to begin initial testing and slow movement of the trains along the track to ensure all components were working properly.
History had been topped off, and the coaster industry was closer than ever to its first triple launch strata coaster. With the warm weather offered at the peninsula throughout December, Cedar Point and the Intrasys team, the LSM company who was installing the LSMs on the ride, went into testing mode and by December 9th had started moving trains along the track. A few days later, on the evening of December 13th, a user on X showed a video in the distance of Top Thrill 2 testing and traversing the spike, nearly making it over the top hat as well.
Cedar Point then released episode 7 of the Pit Stop series, showcasing the first train to traverse the top hat in over 2 years. A wonderful watch, and of course, everyone wanted to know where the POV was. In addition to the Pit Stop series, Tony Clark and the CP team were updating guests via the On Point blog as well. On January 3rd, we got an update of all the groundwork and station work that was going on, and as well as some of the close-up shots of the ride sensors and LSM building too.
The cold months lingered on, and work continued when possible, with the park releasing episode 8 of the Pit Stop series, showcasing the station work, new steel being added, discussing the safety envelope for the new spike, and giving us something to look forward to come winter chill out. But before we got to winter chill out and all the bone-chilling fun surrounding the event, Cedar Point had a few more teasers and surprises up their sleeves. By February 5th, the park released info about the Fastlane and Fastlane Plus deals. It mentioned that single use on Top Thrill 2 for daily Fastlane users and season-long Fastlane Plus users could get on the ride as many times as they wanted.
Interesting bit of breaking news, but for a ride of this caliber, it makes sense why they are limiting the daily Fastlane usage on the coaster to keep the wait times down and fair for everyone. The following day, Cedar Point released a new episode of the Pit Stop, showcasing the station steel and highlighting all the work being done to the queue and station. But more fun was coming in for this mega project. On Tuesday, February 20th, Tony Clark and Michael Manny went live on TikTok to do a Q&A session with fans, giving us construction updates, including a bird's eye view from the control booth, a track walk discussing theming elements that would be released to the public in the future, and added a layer of excitement to the process as we all anxiously watched this ride inch closer and closer to the finish, racing towards the sky and opening day.
Frigid temperatures and tower structuring filled the air on Saturday, February 24th at Cedar Point's annual winter chillout, and the one thing looming in the air over everything was that new massive 420-foot spike tower. We met with the maintenance team at the park and got to see the first look at the new design for the Midway Flower Garden project, and this year we'll be seeing a Top Thrill 2 themed section along the Sky Ride from above and the Midway from below. The park is going all out with the marketing for Top Thrill 2, and guys, this is going to be the year of Top Thrill 2 for the park. As we leave the maintenance shops, all you can see is the spike towering next to Power Tower and over Iron Dragon and the corkscrew. It's truly just an incredible work of art to marvel at.
This was the first time I saw the entire new paint scheme up close and finished, and it just pops over the skyline in bright red and white. The coaster looks so much better than the original Dragster iteration did. The excitement was barely just beginning for the day, as we got to go up close and see all the construction progress being made on Top Thrill 2.
But even better, we got to see the new trains up close and got to sit in them for a test seat, and they are just so incredibly comfortable and accommodating for guests of all sizes. The open air feeling is even more so than the original Top Thrill Dragster trains were, and the trains themselves look so sleek. It's going to be fun watching this coaster flying up and down the spike all season long. Speaking with Michael Maney, the head of VP of Maintenance at Cedar Point, he was excited and eager to see this project come to a finish and to see how all of the guests would react to riding the biggest and baddest coaster in the park. And guys, Yes, the wheels are absolutely massive for this train, like the size of your upper body huge. We got to discuss maintenance with the Cedar Point teams, and they believe these wheels will hold up to the multi-launches all day long, and we're super optimistic about the upkeep of the ride chassis and the wheels throughout the whole entire coaster season. Which brings us to the old hydraulic launch station.
Cedar Point repurposed the old hydraulic building into a maintenance shop for the trains during the off-season or routine maintenance schedules. And Tony Clark did mention they will bring the Wild Mouse trains there next off-season as well for maintenance. The building looked awesome repurposed and showing odes to the past throughout the room with modern touches of today. A truly unique experience, especially about Top Thrill 2 and the anticipation that's revving up all off-season for this ride.
And one more thing we wanted to discuss from Winter Chill Out was Cedar Point clearly did some ride modifications to the structure of Top Thrill 2 after they did the test runs in December, I would say, because when we were at the park, we noticed notches of one of the spike towers where the track comes down, kind of notched out and smoothened out. So they had clearly done some recent work there to make the clearance or the passages a little bit bigger, and we're not sure why, but we did notice that at Winter Chill Out. Winter Chill Out had come and gone through the wintry peninsula of Cedar Point, and everyone was left talking about just how tall that spike looks in person, and how close to the midway that high-speed track came to the crowds. On March 5th, Cedar Point released the 9th episode of the Top Thrill Pit Stop series, continuing the fun coverage of Top Thrill 2 and all of its progress. In this episode, Tony Clark teased more details about the preview day events and told guests they could expect to hear more news in the coming weeks. Getting to the actual news about the ride's progress, they showcased the new ride canopy first that will greet riders boarding their Race for the Sky on Top Thrill 2. They let us know more about the fencing running along the launch track and how it would mimic an actual racetrack fence to really bring together the racing environment. Progress on the infield queue had continued, and where the rails would go in were all determined. The gates for the station were installed, and the team showed the new loading area for Top Thrill 2, looking pretty nifty early on, and an additional look at the control panels that had been installed. And of course, as the titled episode implies, Cedar Point raised the flags on Top Thrill 2, marking the return of the iconic racing flags on the station. By March 12th, Top Thrill Tuesday had become a thing many had came to expect from Cedar Point and Tony Clark on social medias, and they gave us some insight to the progress over the past week in a blog post on the On Point blog. The wait for information about media events and preview days, plus the keychains, had started to ramp up, but the park made sure to keep us on our heels, waiting for more in the coming weeks. Perimeter fencing for the ride had been installed, and while the fencing is facing the wrong way to that on a racetrack, it looks pretty cool, and the park nailed the seeability of the ride's launch sequence and the racetrack feeling. This episode showed us more concrete being poured for the queue, almost stretching to the entrance, and the first glimpse of shading added to the ride. Yes, a great addition for the almighty Top Thrill 2 to protect us enthusiasts from the summer heat. We learned that the park had seen numerous cycles of the coaster at this point, and things were really ramping up, with the blue and silver trains on site and track. All that was left was for the black train's arrival and full testing of the coaster with 3 trains on track. All of the safety measures had been taken, and the park was in the home stretch of finishing up this soon-to-be iconic roller coaster. The following Top Thrill Tuesday was an interesting one, as the park chose to refrain from a pit stop or blog post and simply posted on Twitter saying, "How's about a little Top Thrill 2 testing footage for your hashtag Top Thrill Tuesday?" with footage of the ride going through cycles from different angles. The internet was ablaze with reactions from positive to negative all over the board. One thing was certain. Everyone was discussing the ride footage and breaking down how they felt about the ride already. Another common question was again referring to the media and preview events, and some added what about the keychains as well. Time would tell for the opening of one of the most anticipated roller coasters in the past few years. Excitement had finally reached a peak, and everyone was talking about this new coaster's testing footage. Top Thrill 2, did it look shaky, did it look this? And then we got to see some up-close construction footage of it as well. Got to see it testing at night in the fog, and let's just say, for Halloween, this ride is going to be absolutely fantastic to ride. I mean, when you watch it go flying up the spike here, it's one of those things, you guys, when we get to Cedar Point for Halloween, you're going to understand. Like, look at that, just towering over the park. We're in the final stretch here. This ride is going to be flippin' amazing. Cedar Point, Zamperla, you guys did it. Let's go, Big Z. And on to more of the updates over the next coming weeks, because this ride just continued to get more and more exciting pretty much from this point on. Everyone was ready to go. With the excitement of the footage, everyone was expecting Top Thrill 2 preview day news, and the fever pitch of questions surrounding it from the week before were heard. But the park decided to keep the suspense going as we all waited anxiously for more news to come. March 26th marked the day we saw the new Top Thrill 2 signage showcasing two Top Thrill 2 logos near the Corkscrew and Magnum bathrooms to signify the new Top Thrill 2 Midway. And hey, they light up. The concept art for the signage looked pretty amazing, and we got some up-close looks at the arches and other signage for Top Thrill 2 as well. Local sign shop, Brady Signs, helped bring this together for the new 2024 ride signage, and it looks like it'll be the best in the park. Lit up, arches over the entranceway, and so many alternative logos in the signs along the midway. The black train also arrived at the park the following day, it seems, as Tony Clark posted a photo saying, "Does it come in black? Yes it does," showcasing the new black trains. As we got closer and closer towards opening day on March 26th, it was officially time to get revved up as Tony Clark and Cedar Point officially shared the preview and charity event information surrounding Top Thrill 2. And we also learned a little bit about those keychains, but first, it was on for the Prayers for Maria charity event. Those guests would get the first chance to ride Top Thrill 2 from 12 to 3 p.m. on April 28th. It was $120 a ticket, and you got to ride some other rides as well, but that was pretty cool. Then they had the pass holder previews for Prestige Pass holders and Gold Pass holders, and those were kind of at different times. The Gold Pass holders had a few more days to choose from, but pretty much April 28th was the day from 4 p.m. to 8 p.m. But those stinking keychains, Tony Clark finally gave us some answers as well. Guests who attended Coaster Mania in 2023 and received the keychains were also invited to ride on Sunday, April 28th from 4 p.m. to 8 p.m. They gave us boarding passes, issued time slots for the event, and it was a great time. Not what I expected for the keychains, but overall, this was just definitely one of the better moments leading up to a coaster's opening that I have ever experienced in my life. I've never been around the coaster community for a big opening of a ride, so finally, it was pretty cool to actually get to see that and actually be a part of something big for once. You know, I've seen the Wild Mouse open and other ones, but this was really cool to finally see Top Thrill 2 in person and get to ride this ride. Because seeing it at Winter Chill Out, you guys, it was just incredible from then on out. By April 2nd, we saw plenty of the footers being poured for the new signage on the midway, and we saw tons of new cement being poured, as well as some of the renderings for this concept as well. These signs really knock it out of the park, and it's coming together, guys. We're in the final few weeks here before it gets done, and they're showing us all of this as they're progressing. They're showing the foundations being laid and all of the railings being put in the queues, and guess what? We even got news that we get fans and misters in the shading queue as well, so this is pretty exciting for everybody anticipating riding the new Top Thrill 2. You're going to get some shading and mists in there. The black train arrived, but the most important thing that happened on this day, after testing the coaster over the past few weeks and running tons of different tests to analyze results for the ride, we were finally at the point where they were finishing touches away from the world's tallest multi-launch coaster. Tony Clark and Michael Maney decided it was time, and they gave us the on-ride point of view. Well, you know what I mean. The on-ride rider's point of view, where they both got on and they kind of gave us their reaction while they were riding Top Thrill 2 for the first time. It looked really awesome. We got a little teaser the day before where they were like kind of showing that they were on the ride, but nobody was really sure. And of course, Cedar Point does it again. On April 2nd, they decided to give us one of the first views of this coaster with people on it, showcasing that, yes, this does go up a little higher than the animations it looked like. I mean, on this first launch here, it looks like it made it up taller, but then you just see their faces as they're screaming back at 100 miles an hour, 101 miles an hour. Just look at them. This ride looks like it's going to be absolutely fantastic. They were hyping it up, and of course, the fever pitch volume of all of the enthusiasts talking good, bad, the rattles, how high up it goes on the spike, all of these things had finally subsided a little bit, and everyone was just giving their pure reactions to what they finally saw. And now, we're only a few short weeks away from actually getting to ride this ride, so everyone was wondering, how fast is this thing actually going to fly over the top hat? Because in this video, it looked like it was flying right over the top hat as well. Time will tell, but Cedar Point seems to have everything amped up and ready to go for Top Thrill 2's opening, and that's great for all of us enthusiasts because guess what, guys? We all get to ride this thing in the coming summer, and everyone is going to love this thing. Well, you know, maybe, but time will tell. The old Dragster launch will be missed, but Top Thrill 2 had one heck of a run As far as hyping up this coaster, the talk surrounding it, all of the coaster YouTubers who made videos discussing it, every single discussion online, different forums, the blogs, the pit stops, everything from the last 2.5 years or so has been amazing watching this come together, because everyone has had a different thought. Everyone thought maybe a 500-foot spike. Some people thought no LSM. Some people thought it was going to get torn down. Others thought intimate. Hey, that's us. Others thought Zamperla. So Top Thrill 2 is here to stay, guys, and what an absolute honor it has been to cover this ride for the past 2.5 years, meeting friends, making friends, meeting fans at the park, having conversations about this roller coaster, the future, what could happen to it, all of the speculation, getting into this community. This is what it's all about. Top Thrill 2 encompasses all of that, the excitement, the thrill, and just the pure adrenaline and rush of getting to a park and riding a ride for the first time. In the early hours of April 25th, Cedar Point invited media attendees to take on the world debut circuit for Top Thrill 2. With news anchors on site and many enthusiasts and content creators, the park was fully ready to display the reimagined Zamperla Top Thrill 2. The midway was decked out with new signage that lights up. The entry portal to the ride was beyond amazing and probably one of the most themed entrances in Cedar Point history, which is fitting for a coaster of this magnitude. Reviews were coming in shortly past the afternoon, and riders were beyond amazed with the ride experience, stating that the top hat had ejector air time in comparison to before, and the sustained speed on the ride was also much better than before. The spike was a huge hit as well, but most importantly, the ride ran the entire time. No hiccups for the park. The excitement was on for the rest of the world as preview days were right around the corner, and on April 28th, we'd finally get our chance to ride Top Thrill 2 for the first time and take our coverage on foot with the documentary. So why don't we just go ahead and take a trip to the roller coaster capital of the world, Cedar Point. But first, are you ready for the race for the sky? A little over 2 years of planning and development, culminating in one of the greatest moments in amusement park history, the unveiling of the first strata structure since the year 2005 with King Dakar. 2 420-foot spikes towering over the Cedar Point skyline. The rollout was almost complete as we raced towards opening day, and on April 28th, guests were treated to a preview day of the new Top Thrill 2 coaster, and expectations were more than shattered by the park. Top Thrill 2 is the coaster to conquer at the park, with 3 launches, including a reverse launch at 101 miles per hour up the spike. A new generation of ride warriors are about to be born, and Cedar Point is here to deliver on the thrills for decades to come. Oh, and you guys thought we forgot about this, but no, we remember it so well, and we're glad nobody else had a similar incident while working on Top Thrill 2. So let's see how preview days for Top Thrill 2 look after more than 20 years. Same midway, same 420-foot mark, 2 completely different renditions and coasters. The race for the sky was on. So, after 2 long years, a little more than, we're finally here at, the Top Thrill 2 preview day. We got some friends with us. I'm with Scott, CP Coaster Lover.
What's up?
We are super excited for today. Mom, how are you feeling after 2 years of coverage finally being here?
Oh my God, I can't wait to get on this thing.
I know.
I'm so freaking excited.
Everyone that's reviewed it so far has told us great things about it, so we're just excited to get into the park, get some rides. Everything's testing. We got Still Vengeance testing in the background over here. You guys will see it go up and over, like right there in a second. But yeah, I mean, it's great already. Great environment. So let's go ahead and get into it, guys.
See, way back here.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, we're here. Keychains. We've made it. First thing we're doing, obviously staring at that beautiful tower behind us. But we're getting our first Magnum rides of the year. Yeah. Woo! First rides of the year for Ghoster Coasters here too. So I'm excited. Hopefully we can get row 17. And this music's gonna get us copyrighted, so bye.
I love it.
My stomach said, ooh. Now it's ready for this big one. Ooh. Top Thrill 2. We're going to the lockers right now. Our boarding time is now, so we'll be back. The new area for Top Thrill 2 looking good. And we got Mr. Tony Clark over here. Woo woo.
We won't watch it. We just got off though.
Yeah, so the area looks phenomenal. They got this whole thing painted out, like the entirety of the midway, the whole way, so it looks like a race course, right? And it's pretty cool. You got my friend CP Coastal over there. We got our ride photos already. They're running this thing fast, like fast operations on it. It's a pretty good ride as far as that. I'll give you guys my review here in a minute, but it's pretty awesome being here again. We got the Top Thrill 2 merch store. There's a lot in here. There's a lot going on in here. But there's some pretty cool stuff here, guys. I mean, tons of merch. Sweatpants with the stuff on it. I mean, anything you can think of in here. They got the racing signs, hoodies with zipper pockets, toddler hoodies with zipper pockets, like above and beyond. These shirts are pretty sweet. I like these ones. And then we got the Top Thrill 2 seagulls. Even more cool merch. I mean, these hoodies are fire. These are some cool hoodies. I really like the blue ones. And I like these black ones that got the cool designs on them. Ooh, that's... merchandise in here is crazy. We got coaster cutouts, everybody. The 360 coaster cutouts, the Parkscapes ones. We got some interesting stuff over here. All the race crew stuff, shorts. They got zippers on them? No, of course not. These coaster cutouts are amazing, guys. Wow. Mini coasters and stuff. Then we got the basic shirts that we got, like, at the announcement and the early hoodies. Overall, they got cozy throws. Get out of here, guys. You want a Top Thrill 2 throw? What? Incredible selection of stuff in here. Candies, little bags. You guys can get your tumblers, your Top Thrill 2 hat, Baby I'm Ready to Go shirts. Tons of stuff in here, to be honest with you guys. It's amazing. And they even got sleep pajamas and keychains and fanny packs and racing shirts and other tumblers and jackets, hoodie jackets. It's just... wow. This one's super soft. Wow. This ride looks amazing.
Yo, Ghoster Coasters.
Hey, how's it going? Hey, Miko! Woohoo! Beach clip! We got Beach Cliff front row. We got Trent Trent, back row, or say right behind him. Catching doozies in the wild. Not your normal guy.
Not your normal guy. But like after the first 2 seconds, once you picked up a little bit of speed.
Once I get my phone, airdrop that. He's Gen Z.
Lockers right now.
Because he's only
It took all of us to figure out how to airdrop a file. One file, 5 minutes to airdrop.
Yeah.
Vlog.
This is like that Spider-Man meme. Not your normal guy.
This is probably
very excited because we all just rode top thrill 2. Where is it? Where is it? There it is.
Look at that beauty.
I said it sucked. So we got a second ride on it. We got our second ride on the front row. They were nice enough to let us ride front row. And we really enjoyed that front row. I like it better. Front row better than
the back row?
I like the back row. Can't lie. This is pretty cool though. This is a good time overall. That's what I'm saying, man.
This has been a fun event, everybody.
What he said. Fun event.
This was a good event. We all had fun. And
it's hard to beat that.
Look at this entrance. Oh, you guys can take your picture.
It's so fun, vlog.
W13.
I think one of my favorite things is running into people at the parks like that because it's just so fun. Hey, where'd my buddy Scott go?
I know that, yeah.
Oh no, I lost Scott. I'm with the vloggers and lost Scott. It's okay. We'll figure it out, right? Top Thrill 2 is amazing, guys. Check out my view of it. As Beachcliff closes out his video, I'll close out my video as well. So big shout out to them. Everybody go subscribe to Beachcliff Studios. If you're not subscribed to Not Your Normal Guy theme parks, go do that as well. They're like basically the Cedar Point YouTubers you guys see. They cover Cedar Point. We're all here. We're all the time. It just happens. I run into Trent every time I go somewhere. Vlog and stuff. Check out Not Your Normal Guy theme parks as he tells you guys to check out me.
You'll see him all over the channel.
See if I can
I'm sure I'll run into Jerry.
Look, guys, there's me.
We have to have our shirtless moment at some point this year.
Dude, you want to do it right now? We got first rider sequence. Thank you so much, guys. Wow. Guys, we got... Woohoo! Look at Trent doing a twirl. I didn't know he could do that.
I can't do the whistle. Oh, I tried to do the whistle. Da 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 da. I can't.
So, first official ride on Top Thrill 2.
Oh my God, I
Woo!
was not prepared for that at all.
Right.
Incredible, absolutely incredible.
That was an incredible ride, you think?
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
So 1 to 10, where's it rank in the park? Give me all that. 1 to 10, what's your ranking?
It's not number 1, but it's not.
No, 1 to 10, what's your ranking?
I give it 3.
What's your first ride on Top Thrill 2?
Oh my gosh, it was fantastic. The airtime going over the top hat.
The airtime going over the top hat's kind of crazy. I agree with them. What'd you feel about the 101 miles an hour backwards?
Dude, that was unexpected.
That was crazy,
that
right?
punch.
Dude,
back down.
It's really punchy coming back too, right? And then you just fly up the spike and you kind of hang there. That weightless moment's amazing.
Yeah.
I loved it. I'm glad we got to ride Top Thrill 2 with you first.
Yeah.
That was our first experience on this, so I'm excited. You got to ride for Media Day, right?
I did, yes.
And how was Media Day for you?
Oh, it was flawless.
Everything looked great. Obviously, we had some downtime here, but
Media day was flawless for you?
There's no downtime media day.
So what was your first thoughts on riding it? Like,
I'm out of breath.
yeah, absolutely.
It's probably the most intense thing that I've ever ridden now that I think about it. It was bumpy, but going backwards up that spike, nothing replaces that.
No, nothing. You are just weightless once you get up there and you start to drop. Like, it's like, oh, what just happened? It really just happened?
I don't have much memory from it because it's like, what was that?
Yeah, like,
there was a lot.
Did this really just happen? Like, holy moly.
It's intense, and then going down the twist now, it feels like you're getting thrown out of it.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, I will say I did think that was a little bit rocky in itself for me. Like, I felt like it was banging me a little bit. But I absolutely loved, like, launch, the rollback, being almost at the top of that spike there was wow.
Even the first launch, it felt better than I anticipated.
It didn't though? Like, I wasn't expecting it, and all of a sudden it hit, and I was like, whoo, there goes my stomach. Like, okay, this is going to be a hit.
All right, guys, so where would you rank it in the park right now off top of your head?
I put it at like 3 or 4.
There we go.
My top favorites. It
Mom?
has to be 3.
3 or 4?
Yeah, I'm going to go with about 3.
All right, I'm here with Dan the Man. This is our second interview because we kind of had a little messed up one. How was your first experience on Top Thrill 2?
It was great. Wonderful. Great.
That first launch, so you said you thought it was a little slower. How did you feel about it once you were on it?
Once I was on it, I thought we were going to go over the top on the first one.
The weightless moment
The spike was something else. I never felt that on another coaster.
there, your stomach kind of gets
Yeah,
lost.
you just hang there, you think you're going to be stuck there.
Yeah,
it
was
was
awesome.
wonderful. Sick.
It was one of those rides, like, I didn't expect it to kind of punch as much as it did.
Oh, yeah.
Watching the POVs, it wasn't as quick.
Oh, yeah.
Where do you rank it in the park now?
I'd probably say number 1 or 2.
Number 1 or 2. This is my buddy Robbie. This is one of my favorite rides I've been on. How did you feel about the overall experience, the theming, the trains, just waiting 2 years to get on this?
Yeah. It was waiting a long time, but it was a great ride. Very good ride.
You said better than the original, right?
Very better than the original.
You guys heard it here first. Dan the Man says better than the original.
3 launches. The first one only had the 1 launch, you know.
Such a sustained ride, so it was much better.
It's a great ride.
Yeah. Thank you so much for your time. Sorry we had to do this twice.
Oh, no problem.
I appreciate you.
Thank you, guys.
Alex, we made a documentary about this ride together 2 years ago. A whole lot of riders screaming past. How was your first experience on Top Thrill 2?
Road 2, absolutely insane. When I got into the turn back into the station, I thought I was going to pass out. I was like hyperventilating. I was like, wow, it's awesome.
One of the greatest rides I've ever been on.
I can't wait to do it again on
opening day, right?
Opening day. Yeah. Going back, I'm buying a single-use fast lane just for this.
So,
my brother.
Off top of your head, where would you rank it in the park right now?
Well,
with
sure, recency bias, I can't give an accurate statement of anything else.
Right,
but I would say definitely top 5.
For
I'd
sure.
say definitely big 4.
What's your favorite moment on the ride?
Top hat. Ironically, I thought it'd be the spike. It was the top hat just
leaning over. I love the weightless moment too. That backward launch was awesome.
Yeah. And
the head chopper.
I didn't notice the head chopper. I was just so
into the ride, right?
Yeah.
It was an amazing
time. It was amazing.
Yeah, I agree.
And I'm excited for the opening this Saturday.
Yeah, hearing all these riders screaming on the midway with a full midway.
Yeah, it's gonna be great.
So we have a documentary coming out, culminating 2 years, Alex. I can't thank you enough for helping me put that together and doing this documentary with us, spending the last, year and a half conversating about this ride over and over. It's a wonderful time.
I can't thank you for letting me be part of it. So.
Thank you. You got so much more to do.
Yeah.
You got such a future in this industry. We're gonna have a lot of fun going forward. Thank you so much for all this. Thanks for being on the channel and everything else. Thank you, Scott, for filming.
Oh my gosh.
How was it, Taylor?
It was so good.
Woo! Top Thrill 2. Yeah, this is crazy, guys. We ran into Taylor as we're leaving. We got Scott waiting there, but hell yeah. Can't wait to see you soon. I got Miku Rides here. How was your first ride on Top Thrill 2?
It was awesome.
Awesome. All right, so what's your guys' favorite moment?
Drop off the top end.
Drop off the top? All right. How'd you feel about the backwards launch?
Backwards launch was way more intense than I thought it was going to be.
Yeah, that was how I felt. And the first launch too, right?
Yeah, first launch, the punch was like, the initial punch was good.
Exactly. How do you guys rank it, like off top of your head, first ranking edition, where's it in the park?
I might put it 3
3 or 4? And out of 10, what do you rank it?
Out of 10, I'll give it a 9.
9 out of 10? I love it, guys.
I don't want to be too biased and give it a 10 out of 10.
Look at that thing going in the distance. Woohoo! Hey, I appreciate your time, man. We got Scott videotaping all of us YouTubers over here, but I got not your normal guy at theme parks, one of my good friends, Trent. How was your first experience on Top Thrill 2?
It was so good, but this isn't my first one.
So, it's not your
No,
first.
I was here earlier. No, not for Media Day. Nobody likes me for Media Day.
You don't like the backward launches,
I don't, but this one is so much fun.
This one is so much fun?
Yeah.
Okay. What's your favorite moment on the ride?
Yeah, when you look up, so you, well, I don't know. Also, all of the airtime going over that is crazy. But you go up that, and you're looking down at that.
Yeah,
that's
you can see the kind of spike.
Yeah, Tower of Terror. Yeah, if you're like looking down at Tower of, or not Tower of Terror, Power Tower. You're just like, it's
such
crazy.
A cool experience. So
It's amazing.
2 is a home run for the park, do you think?
I do think so.
Thank you.
And I was very skeptical, but I walked up to Tony and I was like, okay, man, I was ready to be a hater, but like, I really like this.
I will say it was a little more rattly than I thought it was going to be, but
That's what
other than
everybody
that,
else has been saying.
it gave me a headache.
It gives me a bit
I
of a
didn't love
headache
it,
too.
but
I don't think it's rattly.
Yeah.
But it's like so much power that it kind of
It's so, they changed the light
Last
colors.
group is going on right now. You hear the Titanic happening over there?
It's so cool. Thank you so much.
Yeah,
for being
thanks.
a small part of this.
Yeah,
I
no
appreciate
problem.
You. I remember the first time I met you was filming like random content for this, like when it was down. So
yeah,
it's awesome to see you be a part of this.
Yeah.
And everything. Like,
I can't believe this. This is nuts.
Oh, did they clear out already? Oh wow, it's empty.
Yep, they cleared it out.
Wow. Thank you so much, Scott. How's your guys' first rides on Top Thrill 2?
Well, technically our second ride.
Second rides, but
anyway, our first front row ride. Yes. Excellent.
Amazing.
So good. Has the rattle. we are worried in like the next 4 or 5 years. Where's that rattle?
I agree. I agree.
Our first ride was in row 7. But I tell you, look at like you're up on that spike, and you're looking down. Everyone looks like little ants.
Oh yeah.
And you are up like the back row has to hit close to 400.
Yeah.
Probably 380.
380 for sure.
Yeah,
380. Like.
Yeah, that's.
Yeah, it's a crazy feeling. What's your guys' favorite moment on the ride?
Probably the backwards launch.
Backwards launches. I think that one's mine too. The spike is pretty close, like hanging up there, but that backwards launch is crazy. Where do you guys think it's going to rank over time in the park? Top 5, top 10? Where are we at with it?
I mean, it's already Steel Vengeance Maverick. This.
Okay.
I don't know if I like this more than one.
I'll give some Magnum and Blue Streak love in here too, but
you know,
this is elite.
Blue Streak all the love.
Yeah, this is an elite ride. Look at the sun setting on the park right now. It just looks so beautiful. Like,
it looks good out here, people.
This is great. You got the lights on the midway. You guys excited for opening day?
Oh, we can't wait. Gonna be here
Can't wait
right
either.
and early.
Talking to Uncle Tony, right? We're gonna go talk to Tony before we get out of here. Oh, I love how we can see people that we know while we're videotaping other stuff.
We just rode on out.
Rowing on out.
Let's go.
You watch this
Heck yeah.
I guess I've never seen your face.
I know, it's no worries. Alright, and I'm here with the man who made the poster for our film, the thumbnail for our film, Robbie. Pipeball on X Twitter, go follow him. But first and foremost, man, how was your first ride out there? How did you feel about it?
Dude, I mean, amazing. I mean, to be fair, I developed a headache because the blue pain machine back there.
Oh, corkscrew.
Yeah.
You got it
So
before you got it.
the second time was a little rougher, but I'm fine with it, man. The first ride was awesome, and it's just like you're expecting something, but then you don't know what you're expecting. You don't know what you're expecting. Yeah. You're expecting. I got no words.
Yeah. So what's your favorite moment on the ride?
Dude, I could have so many of them. I will say though, so many people trash that first launch. I think it's so fun.
First launch is awesome.
On top of that rollback, it may not like drop
doesn't look high, but it still felt high.
It felt pretty high. And even though you're not rolling back to 350 feet up, man, that floater air time, it's ridiculous.
Yeah,
you hang there for a good. So
what was your first impression hanging on the spike and just looking at the whole park and the landscape?
I mean,
what do we think of that thing? Oh my God! What do we think of it?
Yes, it's awesome, man.
It's just a crazy ride.
But honestly, man, my first thoughts when because I get up there at the peak of the ride, you gotta look out, you gotta look over, you gotta be like, okay, I'm taller than Millennium, I'm taller than Power Tower, I'm like staring eye to eye with the top hat, man. It's
dude, when you
something
look
else.
over and you're looking down on the railing of the Power Tower, like the curved part, it kind of sets in. You're like,
oh my, like I'm up there, I'm up there. You're like, I'm up there.
The lagoon and it's so small, and you're like, what's going
Oh
on?
yeah, it's definitely something else for sure. And that night ride with the lights on, man.
Yeah, and
it's
after
awesome.
2 years of culmination of waiting for this, I mean, we were here for Halloween weekends last year, staring at this thing lit up.
Yeah, I mean,
what's happening? How do you feel?
And the year
finally,
before.
Yeah, how do you feel finally getting on this thing?
It almost feels like it's not quite real, man. It's like, especially because I live in town.
Yeah.
I've watched this thing be built from
ground up.
Basically ground up. I mean, I remember the day it was announced. I was in class. I was in Spanish class. I nearly shit my pants when I saw the notification. I'm like, what? They actually closed it. And then I go to the park and they got fences up. I'm like, okay, they mean business. So over the next 2 years, man, you see it build. You see the rumors were crazy.
Yeah, that was
because everybody
we all made
forgets,
friends.
right? The rumors, speculation. I mean, that was awesome the whole time, man. The Twitter Spaces. Shout out to Twitter Spaces.
Everybody on Twitter.
Everybody.
CP Coastal Lover for filming this right now.
Of course, gotta shout him out.
Yes, of course. But yeah, honestly, this ride was amazing. I think it's probably a top 5, top 10 ride for me at this point. I don't know personal coaster rankings, but park-wise, top 10. I'm just glad I got to meet a bunch of friends. Thank you for being a part of this. You made this so much fun to be a part of. Scott, you made this so much fun to be a part of.
Everybody, the whole thing was fun.
Yeah, the culmination of meeting all the friends, working with people, being able to ride this together, just top tier.
And we ain't going nowhere either.
I know, we got years to go, man. What's the next big ride?
The new surveys they sent out?
Yeah, what's the next big ride?
Oh, man.
Where are we going with next, guys? What's your guess for the next Cedar Point ride after this documentary?
That mock extreme spinner with the inverted stall with the launch, that would be, I don't know.
I think I agree with him. So that's going to wrap it up for right now. Thank you so much for giving me some of your time about this, man.
Gotcha.
I appreciate you so much. Obviously, all the work you've done with the thumbnail and the poster for this. I'm excited for opening day. This is a culmination of 2 years, man. So thank you so much for being a part.
All right, of course.
Top Thrill 2 is closed for the day. It seems they've cycled everybody. Midways are emptying out. It's just me and CP Coastal Lover and Robbie at this point. Look at that. Oh, hold on. Let me get you a cool new picture. Oh, man. This was so fun. Like, top tier day. We rode Magnum twice. We rode Top Thrill 2 for the first time. And it was amazing. 2 years culminated in this crazy build-up. We got to hang out with so many friends today. That's really what makes the Ghoster Coasters channel what it is. That's what makes going to parks what it is. I wouldn't be able to do this without all the awesome people we run into, like CP Coaster Lover, all the friends of the channel. Me and my mom are eternally grateful to you guys. Thank you so much for letting us cover this. Baby, I'm ready to go. You hear it? Yes. As you guys can't tell, they kind of remixed it up. It's not the exact same song anymore. It's kind of chopped up over some pop music, so it's pretty cool. This whole setup is beautiful, amazing. Just look at the portal, guys. Look at this. Oh.
The world debut circuit had come and gone, with Top Thrill 2 finally capping off an exciting 2 years of speculation, rumors, and anticipation for the next rendition. From intamin to Zamperla, from problematic to reimagined, from one strata structure to 2 420-foot structures, and from standing but not operating to a full-on race for the sky, the Cedar Point skyline is forever changed. History has been made, and each and every single one of us was a huge part of the anticipation and coverage for Top Thrill Dragster to Top Thrill 2.
On behalf of Alex Firlik, Jared Goolsby,
and myself, Stacy Goolsby, this is Ghoster Coasters, and we can't thank you all enough for joining us over the years as we all embarked on the race for the sky.
Mega beast of a coaster. And we're going to close it out right now, guys. Thanks for coming along. what happened?
I lost my keys on that ride over there.
Did you really lose your keys?
Yeah, really.
Oh, shoot.